Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here, tuning in, and sharing your time with me. Today, we are diving into an exciting topic because so much of my work centers around assisting people and coming back to their own divinity within, connecting with their own intuition, learning how to navigate their own lives from a place of empowerment. This is an important episode, and I can't wait to walk you through it. It's going to be very different because it's going to be a lot more hands on. So, today we are looking at stop looking outside of yourself, the best ways to tune in. If you listen to the May Akashic Forecast episode, then you know our theme for this month is to prioritize the body. And it's been cool because I've listened to other channels and what it is they've been bringing through this month. Very much our theme is prescriptive in regards to how to navigate not only this month, but certainly these times. And the body is coming to the front lines for us. It is coming on board in a way that we haven't experienced before, which is why it's so important for us to learn how to work with it, how to listen to it, and ultimately how to tune in. So today I'm going to be discussing with you the importance of tuning in. What are some of the things that may be preventing you? And then I'm going to walk you through some practices, my very favorite ones, to get you on the road to tuning in and helping you to connect with the best wisdom, the best guidance that is for you because it comes through you. Okay. If you're brand new to my work, my name is Anna Hendricks, spiritual guide, Akashic Record channel teacher, and of course, your host today. And again, I'm honestly really pumped to dive into all things. So before we get started, I just want to remind you this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am hosting an Akashic Restoration group session. Now, this is my own energy healing modality through the Akashic Records, and it is extremely powerful. You do not need to attend live to receive all of the incredible energy healing magic from the Akashic Records. And so, highly recommend joining. Link will be below so that you can learn more about that. Our focus for this will be fear. And so, if you have been struggling with fear, if you want to come into different relationship with fear, this is a beautiful way to do so. And it's also a session that you can utilize again and again throughout 2026 and far beyond whenever you feel called back to it, to work with the Akasha, to detangle and undo things that hold you back in your relationship with fear. The other thing I want to do is I want to invite you to come and join my weekly email list so that you can receive a weekly channeled Akashic Nourishment message. These messages I've just been getting such incredible feedback on. It's just, the Akasha works in mysterious and beautiful and magical ways, but highly recommend. It's free. Come join. Again, link is below. All right. So let's dive into today. First and foremost, why is it important for you to connect with your own wisdom? So this might seem really obvious to you. You may be like, oh my gosh, because yes, of course, especially if you're in the spiritual community, you've been in the spiritual community for a while, right, on a logical level, that this is what you most want. Yet let's be honest with ourselves. If we truly knew this from an embodied way, then we would actually be practicing it so much more. We have been conditioned, right, to run around to get answers outside of ourselves from pretty much the very beginning of our lives. It's nothing new. And I want to be very clear when I say having a guide in your life, having a friend in your life, someone that you can go to, that you can trust, that you know has your best interest in mind is a gift. And if you do have someone like that, then honor it, love it, cherish it, because not everybody does. And so I don't want to give you any kind of ideas about this being a negative thing. It only starts to get out of balance when this person becomes your end all be all. When you start going to them way before you connect with your own self, right? Because the truth is that while we can work with the best possible guide on the planet, our own internal wisdom is what is ultimately the best for us. And unless you're working in the Akashic records, this person doesn't have access to that. So hopefully, if it is a friend or it is a guide, what they're truly doing for you is they are helping you to navigate back to your own wisdom. They aren't offering you up all the answers and telling you what to do. They're asking you questions that help you unearth what is best for you, because those are the types of guides that we want in our life. And again, if you are privileged enough to have one, then love them, cherish them, bring them cookies, bring them lots of love, because not everybody has the opportunity to have that kind of a person in their life. So I just want to be clear on that before we dive in. But this propensity for us to look outside of ourselves, it's so innate, it's so natural, because it's not just about this lifetime. It's about many, many lifetimes on this planet. Anytime we step back into a human incarnation, we're stepping back into some of the energy that we circulated through in other lifetimes. Therefore, these ideas of like, oh, the pastor is going to know more than I do, or this guru, or this like esteemed person, instead of realizing that we have that within all of us, right? And that is the big difference here. This is very rooted in religions across the planet. But if you know Jesus or Yeshua, whichever name you prefer to use, then you know that ultimately what he came to this planet to do was to help us wake up to the fact that the divine is within, God is within, and we only need to go within to access that. It is within all of us because we are all aspects of the divine, of God, meaning that we too are God in our own way. The aspect that we are, that part of us that came out, our souls that wanted to experience things, wanted to do things, wanted to play all of the roles across all of the planets of the galaxies, whatever, before ultimately rejoining back in and with God. So, in that, what we have within us is extremely, extremely powerful. And make no mistake about it, as I have shared on the show so many times, the powers that be on this planet do not want you to know that. They do not want you to be connected to it. In fact, they want to keep you as distracted as possible. They want to make you think that you need to go to this person or this organization or whatever religion, right? Anything outside of yourself instead of looking within, right? Right now on the planet, learning how to do this is of utmost importance. It's always been important to learn how to be connected to the wisdom that is within, always. But right now, especially because we are going through such massive transformation on this planet and will be for the next several years. And if you don't learn how to connect with your own internal guidance system, then you're going to be pulled in like 50 million directions, depending on the day, depending upon the topic. I mean, right now, it's difficult to stay grounded, to stay centered in the midst of so many things that are changing. I don't know about you, but it's like every single day there's another thing in the news. It's like, it's hard not to get emotionally attached. It's hard not to think like, oh my gosh, I need to do something. Oh my gosh, this. Oh my gosh, that, right? We have to take responsibility for ourselves so that we can make the decisions that are most in alignment with us. Okay. And if you are someone who really struggles with this, there is no shame, because again, we weren't taught how to do this. We were taught to do the opposite of this. And this is still something that, even though I am a very strong-willed person, I do my own thing. It's just kind of amazing how unconsciously I still kind of reach out to others around me without even thinking about it. Then I'm like, yo, 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 and I pull myself back. I'm a pretty democratic person, I will say, and I don't mean that like the political party, just meaning that like I love to hear lots of opinions. I love to hear like lots of different, you know, perspectives on any one thing, and then I make my own decision. But what is most aligned for me is to get clear on what I want. and then be open to opinions. And then, of course, I can make my own decision, right? So, understanding that again in these times, it's huge because whether it comes to understanding like if you need to food prep for your family, if you need to save for a rainy day, if you need to change careers, if you need to leave your marriage, if you need to date a person, if you need to XYZ, whatever, learning how to tune in, learning how to connect with your own internal guidance is going to be something that serves you for the rest of your life, right? And if you're new here, then I highly recommend checking out, honestly, like any of the episodes that I've been sharing in May about the body and about the importance of connecting with the body. But this is just my work. This is one of those values that I hold most dear in life, right? I consider the body to be the greatest gift that we've been given as a human. It is our channel. It is our connection to the divinity that is within, to our higher selves, which are always going to have the best information for us, right? But if you don't have a good relationship with your body, your beautiful vessel, then it's going to be very difficult to know how to tune in, to know how to connect, to receive this information. And you can check out episode 313. The body is the channel for much more of a deep dive on that. So, what makes it difficult to tune in and connect with our truth? So, first and foremost, trauma, right? This is very connected to our nervous system. Okay. And I really want you to see these two tied hand in hand. And when we think about trauma, you've heard the expression little t, big T. This can be everything from harassment, bullying, things like that we received as a child into much more bigger T traumas like, sexual abuse or something of this nature. It can, violence. I mean, there's so many different ways in which this can show up for us. And we need to be aware of those things. If you were someone who grew up in a home where you never felt safe, then that in and of itself was traumatizing to you. And you've got to recognize that because it's playing a role in preventing you from fully connecting with your body because flat out, there's something in your nervous system memory that doesn't make it safe enough for you. So instead of beating yourself up, instead of thinking that you're not worthy, instead of thinking that like, oh, I don't have the gifts that my friends do, it's important to look back at what your history through life is, where trauma has shown up for you. Because in modern times, every single one of us have gone through it in some type of way. And when we can recognize it, we can pinpoint it, then perhaps we can start working with it, depending upon the circumstances, right? Number 2, fear. Fear is a big one because you have to think about every single thing in life, every emotion, every energy, everything is either rooted in love or fear. And so if it's not rooted in love, then it's rooted in fear. And fear can show up in so many different ways. We may not even recognize that we're fearful, but fear is ultimately at the root of that. And that's why, again, naming it is so important. Fear is ultimately about this lack of safety, which again goes back to the nervous system. And you think about these different survival modes that we've had to embody in our life just to survive situations, right? Becoming disconnected from our bodies, disassociating, right? You've heard of freeze, flight, fight, fawn, right? There's so many things that our body does when it doesn't feel safe. And it's pretty wild because the body remembers so much within it. And not just from this lifetime, but also other lifetimes. And so you can be having a conversation with somebody and someone can mention something to you and it can like trigger you. You can, maybe do something, go to a new place. And for whatever reason you get triggered. We can be triggered by so many different things. And that's ultimately because there's fear there. Triggers are a gift because they are an invitation for us to look at something deeper. But of course, when we are stuck in these survival places, when fear is our main theme, when it's running the show, that is absolutely going to prevent us from tuning in. Because guess what? Tuning in is about getting quiet, it's about being still. And if you are someone who likes to be busy like all the time, then most likely it's because you don't want to tune in. You don't want to get still. You don't want to see things clearly. You're afraid of that. I know people I have a mother who has spent pretty much her entire life being busy as she possibly can be. And I know that such a big part of that is she simply does not want to stop. She does not want to think about all of the things that have happened and all of the things that she's gone through. It's easier, it's safer to just keep moving. And how many of us are the same way? I see that in myself too. In At times, it's like, oh, I feel better when I'm like running around and I'm super active versus when I'm slowing down and really tuning in. But again, that is fear. Okay. And that's why it's important to recognize it. Your triggers are important, such an important cue for you to get quiet, to tune in, to pay attention to what's going on. And ultimately, again, they are connected to something that you are afraid of. Number 3, being disgusted with your body. And I think this one, quite frankly, isn't talked about enough. We are told so many things from such a young age about how we're supposed to look, what we're supposed to wear, how we're supposed to act, all of these things. And oftentimes we're just taught that our bodies are wrong, period. And so we learn to become really, really unkind to our bodies, very rude, very demeaning, very judgmental. You know, um, if you've been listening to my podcast, this is something I struggle with. It's like I look in the mirror and I don't look in the mirror. When I look, like my first look, it's not at the things that I love about my body, it's at the things I don't like about my body. This is something I've really been working on myself with, but it's just interesting that that's where my attention goes. And you may be the same way for any type of reason. If you don't like the way your body looks, then you're going to want to disassociate from it. You're going to want to, you're going to judge it really harshly. You're going to be really unkind to it. And so, again, you're not going to be as connected to that wisdom that is within. It's going to take more for you to do that. So, overall, anything that disconnects you from your body is something that makes it difficult for you to tune in and to connect with your own internal guidance. All right. Now, that may look like something completely different that I didn't even mention, but your job is to kind of pinpoint that for yourself so that you can do something about it. Okay. So, best ways to tune in and connect with your body. First and foremost, the nervous system. It's important to look at this because the thing is that if our nervous system is in freeze, flight, any of these things, if we don't feel safe in our body, like I was just talking about, then it doesn't matter. All the lists and endless ways that you can tune in, they're going to be very difficult for you. And so anytime that you do want to tune in, it's important to take a moment and to evaluate where your nervous system is at and to bring it back into more of a balanced place before trying to tune in and connect with your intuition, connect with that guidance system, right? Because otherwise you might take it personally. You might think, oh my gosh, my guides aren't showing up for me. Oh my gosh, my higher self isn't here. Oh my gosh, see, this is what happens. Like I need help and nothing's here. It's not your fault. I promise you. We weren't taught to do these things. It's like going to the gym the first time, like all these machines, all these things, but we don't understand them until we start doing them, until we start practicing them. So the easiest way to go about this, the best way to set yourself up for success is to tune into your nervous system. So I'm going to go through a couple of things for an overstimulated nervous system or for an understimulated nervous system. And mind you, when it comes to the nervous system, our ultimate goal in life is not to always have a balanced nervous system. It is normal and natural to ebb and flow because our bodies are constantly ebbing and flowing. when you think about the fact that everything is energy, this makes sense, right? Because we're constantly coming in contact with different vibrations of energy. And when we do that, it shifts us in different ways. And so there's no possible way for our nervous system to always be balanced unless we are dead. And then it's also dead. It just doesn't happen. So let's just knock that out of the way. Okay. But again, if you are overstimulated or understimulated in a really big way, these are things that can impede your ability to tune in. So, first and foremost, overstimulated nervous system. We know this one really well, right? We're anxious, we maybe like have a problem breathing, we our body feels really tense, we may just fully shut down, like, because we're so overstimulated. This, you've been there. We've got like a million things to do. It is that place of overwhelm, right? So first of all, vibration plates, boom, amazing. This is something that I have recommended to my mentorship clients so many times, because whether you're overstimulated or understimulated, it's so helpful for you. A vibration plate, you can get one for freaking $70 on Amazon. They're very, very affordable now. And I guarantee you that the benefits will far outweigh anything that you spend monetarily on it in a very short period of time. When I first kind of got on TikTok, I think about 2 years ago now, I was seeing all these women on vibration plates and I was like, what is this? Like, I thought it was very funny because they're just, standing there like jiggling, shaking, right, their whole body. It just looked bizarre to me. And then I had a chiropractor say like, hey, like you should check out a vibration plate, which sent me down the rabbit hole of looking at the benefits of vibration plates on the physical body. And I was just like, what? Okay, I'm totally going to try this out. So I ordered one. And I have to tell you, like, I am obsessed with my vibration plate. I'm on it basically every day. It's like, if you know me in person or even with my mentorship clients, like I often leave voice notes while I'm standing on my vibration plate. It really helps me in between clients. It's such a massive, assistance in my life. There are all kinds of physical benefits. But what I honestly love the most is the way in which it helps my nervous system. It's so huge for me because my nervous system, as a neurodivergent autistic person, I am a highly, highly sensitive individual. And so my nervous system is often like, pinged at any given time. And it's so helpful to me. So if I'm feeling overstimulated, then I will go step on my vibration plate. And man, does it help me to kind of ground into my body, get in, and just calm down. All right. Number two, humming or sighing. Now, I want to walk you through this. And I just have to tell you that honestly, what I love to do with either one of these is just set an alarm for like 2 to 3 minutes. And I just repeat these again and again. And these are literal somatic practices that you can do to really calm and soothe your body. If I'm freaking out about something, if I'm like really kind of caught up in an anxiety or fear state, these are a beautiful way that can really kind of like calm me down and bring me back to center. Okay. So first, humming. All right. So what I love to do is I place my hand on my heart and I'm just going to hum just right through my nose. Okay. So just follow along with me and you'll know this because you've done this, maybe even done this unconsciously in the midst of being nervous, scared, anything like that. Right. So we just take an inhale through the nose. And then when we come out, and you can do that for as long as you want. What I'm really doing is I'm putting a lot of focus right here in the middle part of my nose. And that is where I'm pushing the sound through. Okay. Now, this can be a shorter hum, it can be a longer hum, whatever it is that feels good to you in the moment. Okay. So let's just try it one more time. All right. So let's take an inhale through the nose and then we'll exhale and we'll hum. All right. Mm. Now, I do this often, so my hums are probably much longer than yours. It's fine either way. If they're really short, if they're much longer, it doesn't matter. What is best for you is what is best for you. Okay. I love like really sitting in it. And what's important when you're doing this is to just really feel into the vibration because it's kind of wild, like very similar to a vibration plate. The body loves to be moved. It loves that motion of being vibrated. And so when we're pushing vibrations through our body, really helps to calm us down. So just that little vibration that comes through my nose, I can just feel it like pulsating all through my body. Okay. Now sighing, kind of similar, but we've all done this at least once or twice. And it's funny because the body does it unconsciously because it knows, again, it's just one of those practices that helps balance out the nervous system. Okay. So you can breathe in through your nose, out through your nose or your mouth, whatever is most comfortable to you. There is no right or wrong here. Okay. So I'm just going to take an inhale, a big inhale, and then I'm going to make a really nice big sigh. All right. And feel free to like overemphasize this. Okay. Because that's kind of like the point. Like really go hard with your sigh. All right. So then sigh it out. Take another inhale. Sigh it out. One more time. Inhale. Sigh it out. Woo, that feels so good. I'll tell you what, if you are someone who struggles with sleeping or going like calming your body down enough to sleep at night, highly recommend, highly recommend. I did this with my partner actually just the other night and he was like, "What is this magic?" He was just ready to pass right out. It's incredible. But you can do this at any point in time, like when you're sitting at your desk, you can excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, you can do it while you're driving down the street. You can do it whenever you need to. I love practices that are quick and easy and very efficient, right? But doing this again to just kind of rebalance yourself before tuning in, I mean, gosh, like 5 to 10 breaths can really shift your energy so fast. Okay. Toning is another one. So, toning is actually very similar to humming. We are using our internal systems to really grab onto sound. Now, I'm sure that probably the easiest way to understand toning is, the om that you would say when you go to yoga class. Now, when you tone, it doesn't have to be in an om. It doesn't necessarily have to be in any kind of specific sound. You can really have fun with this. What is important is that it comes from within, it comes from your heart space, and then it moves through your body. And you can really play around with this. I love to sing, and so I love toning, in all kinds of different ways. There are beautiful chakra toning exercises that you can find on YouTube that are really, really cool. So you can tone through your different chakras and help clear them out. There's so many different ways in which you can tone. So I'm just going to kind of show you this through the Om, okay? And I highly recommend just getting on Google and looking up like maybe toning videos or whatever the case may be. Especially again, if you love that vibration, right? Because the body loves to vibrate, it loves to be kind of shaken out of its state when it is in those freeze, like fight, whatever states, right? Okay. So just going to take a big inhale. And then from the chest. Oh. I honestly never thought I would be someone who would do that like in person. I remember years back in yoga class when they would and I would like try and do it quietly so I wasn't, I wasn't being heard by anyone else. That was like back in my days when I was, still like egoically tied to, wait a minute, is my own going to be good? And what does that mean about me? And all those things. So toning is really incredible. Again, it's one of my favorites. So highly recommend looking into that. And then the fifth one, changing your environment. And this is also something that we're going to talk about with understimulated nervous system. But when talking about an overstimulated nervous system, it's different. Okay. Now, when we talk about changing our environment from an overstimulated place, what I mean specifically by this is retraining the nervous system to be able to move when it gets overstimulated. Oftentimes, when we're overstimulated, we just want to shut down, right? We're in that sort of overwhelmed place. And we feel like I can tell you as a business owner, when I'm feeling overstimulated, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to do XYZ. And I go into freeze state and I just like stop there. And then so like I'm not able to do anything. When I can change my environment, I can begin changing and retraining my nervous system. And what I mean by that is instead of allowing myself to get stuck in freeze, I take myself for a walk and I just allow myself to retrain my nervous system to know that even in the midst of being overstimulated, I can do things that help to really reset and calm myself. And this is a much bigger discussion about capacity on a daily basis, but it's so powerful. So, so powerful. And I got to tell you, like if you're wanting to tune in and you're feeling really overstimulated and you go for a walk, walking like rebalances your nervous system wherever you're at. And so by the time you get back, you are ready. You are ready to go within. And it doesn't necessarily have to be walking, right? It could be just like laying in your grass. It can be, my point is that you want to meet it with an opposite action. When your body is wanting to absolutely flip, feeling like it doesn't have enough time, feeling like it can't do something, try doing the opposite. Let me know how it goes for you. Okay. It's really, really cool. So, understimulated nervous system, again, being on a vibration plate. So, let's talk about an understimulated nervous system really quick because, we know the overstimulated, that's obvious, but what is understimulated? So, understimulated could be most sort of connected with like depression, right? It's a lack of will to live. It's feeling like, what's the point? It's so low that it's almost like when your heartbeat comes to like such a lower place that it's almost like it's just not beating. And I don't mean this in a cool way. When we're understimulated, it's hard for us to take action. It's hard for us to make decisions. It's hard for us to even want to participate in life. And, that can kind of like really mirror overstimulation sometimes. So it's important for you to kind of, again, like figure out where you're at and like play around with some of these things and see which one works for you. But I know when I'm understimulated, it's like, I just want to lay on my bed. I don't want to do anything. And so it's important for me to kind of get the chi moving again, get that energy flowing in my body again, so that I can really take action and I can start moving again. Right. So again, sometimes I am someone who dreams very intently. My dream life is super active. And so, and this is actually normal for autistics. And so when we transition from our dream life or dream world into our 3D life, it can be really difficult for us to step in back into the 3D. And so I often wake up very angry, very annoyed, not wanting to do anything. And if I just take myself and put myself on my vibration plate for 10 minutes, what it does is it gets my body moving. It gets me back in my body. It helps me to ground. It helps me to come back to center. Okay. So again, it just gets things moving. Again, I love my vibration plate. Number two, a heart rate elevation exercise. Okay. This can be everything from jumping up and down, for just like 2 minutes. Like that's something I really love to do as well. If I don't have my vibration plate or I don't even want to get on my vibration plate, I'm so low, then I will just, it's like, okay, I can at least do something for 2 minutes. And so I'll set 2 minutes on my alarm and I will just literally jump up and down for 2 minutes. And it is amazing how much that will shift your energy, your nervous system. It'll really get things going again. So this could be like, just some jumping up and down, being wild, like letting your body just move. Whatever the case may be, as long as it gets your heart rate really up, right? And gets that blood flowing through your nervous system, because that will, again, help you to get into your body in a meaningful way. All right. Number three, changing your environment. And again, this is different from overstimulation simply because this is about shaking things up for yourself. So, whether this is maybe like a daily issue for you, or maybe this is just where you're at in life, you're so understimulated, you can't seem to begin taking action on things. You've got to change up your environment. You've got to maybe drive a different way to work. You've got to go to a different type of event. You've got to be around different people. You've got to change up your environment. Okay. And this will really help you to, again, get back into your body. And then you will be able to really tune in. All right. Because you'll actually want to. It's just kind of crazy how things work, within our bodies. Right. And then last but not least, breath work. Now, breath work to me is great for overstimulation, understimulation. It's one of those things that honestly is just good across the board. But it is especially helpful for, again, getting things moving, getting back into your body, feeling like you're alive again. I'm moving myself and I sit on a exercise ball in front of my desk. So that's why I'm like bouncing. But again, because I've got to kind of my blood, what is it when you've got like high blood versus low blood? My brain's blanking on me right now, but I have very low. Okay. And so this is something that I have to work on quite frequently in regards to getting myself moving. All right. Breath work is so incredible because if you are overstimulated, it can help calm you. And if you are understimulated, it can activate you. All right. One of my favorites. So these are a bunch of practices that you can do. And I highly recommend just kind of playing around. Right. But understand that what's important to know about this is, once again, we want to tune in. We want to pay attention to the nervous system and where you're at in relation to your body before we start tuning in. Okay. Once you do that, then you're ready. And it becomes so much easier for you. When I teach my students how to access the Akashic records, I give them like a list of different exercises and things that they can do before they even open up the Akashic records to improve the quality of their connection with the Akasha, to improve their ability to connect with the Akasha. Because again, the body is all things, right? So first and foremost, hand on heart. Now, I've talked about this before, but I want to walk you through it a little bit, okay? So that you kind of see what it is that I'm doing. And again, you can follow along with me. So what I suggest doing, right, left hand, it doesn't matter. You're going to put it right over your heart, which is over that heart space. It's actually your heart chakra. It's right in the middle part of your chest. And I love just kind of taking a moment to allow my consciousness to kind of like move down into this space. And so I will purposefully like focus on the connection between my palm, my hand chakra and my heart chakra, right in the middle part of my chest. And I'll just feel into that space. And then I'm going to ask myself, right? Because we're wanting to tune in. And tuning in can happen in a variety of ways. Tuning in with your heart is extremely powerful, okay? Your heart knows before your brain does. And so it really understands what's going on with your body. And having a relationship with your heart is one of the coolest things because your heart has so much to say. And once you spend some time developing a relationship with it, you're going to be like, what? What? And it's something you can do anywhere and receive very clear guidance on what is aligned for you. Okay. So go ahead and just like tuning in. If you have already done your nervous system exercises and gotten yourself in a balanced place, and again, this is going to be so much easier. All right. But you can also just take a couple of really big inhales and exhales and just kind of imagine clearing out the energy around your heart space. Okay. Before you ask the question. And you could just ask, what does my heart most want to share with me today? And then I just recommend taking like a really nice long inhale and exhale and just breathe it out. And this just kind of helps you relax so that if you don't receive a response right away, you don't immediately go to the mind because that's typically what it wants to do. If you don't hear something real fast, then the mind's like, it starts creating all kinds of stories or it kind of starts throwing things in. And if that's the case, just take another breath. Again, bring your consciousness down to your hand on your heart, which you can do by like really focusing on that connection between hand and heart. And just allow yourself to sit there in that beauty, in that stillness, in that quiet before it offers something up to you. And my heart says, I want you to be much slower today. Yeah, right, heart. No. That's what my heart had to say. Developing a relationship with your heart is really beautiful because once you do, then, oftentimes you can even kind of bypass some of like the nervous system exercises to find out what's going on with your body or with your heart or you know, like I can ask myself if I'm in the store, and I'm like really wanting to buy this thing, but it's like, should I spend the money? Should I not spend the money? And I can like tune in, like, is it most aligned for me to buy this thing? And I'll either hear yes or no. Maybe I'll see a Y or an N, or you know what I'm saying? It's going to show up for you a little bit differently. But the point being, you can use this with anything, right? When you read something online that absolutely freaks you out, like let's say, like the food preppers are going crazy right now. It's all over the place. And you know what? For some of us, we absolutely may need to do that. For some of us, we don't need to do that at all, right? So again, like tuning in. Do I need to food prep for the coming year? Yes or no, right? And waiting for the response. Our intuition is gentle, it is soft. It's not going to be like, yes, that's our ego, that's our mind. Okay. And so if that is the case, what I like to do is I will imagine like windshield wipers, just kind of like clearing out my head, just going back and forth, coming back, coming back. Every time you bring your attention to that connection between your palm and your heart, it literally brings your consciousness down into your body and you'll feel that shift. It's really nice. Number 2, meditating with the intention to connect with your body, connect with yourself, to tune into what is best for you. So what this is specifically is, let's say, I have done this when I've needed to come up with topics for my podcast, when I have needed to receive an answer around a really difficult situation, around maybe an action that I needed to take towards something. Any kind of clarity, what I can do is I will set the intention before I sit down to meditate to receive guidance on this, to receive an answer for how to navigate this. Whatever it is that I need, I will set that intention and then I will meditate. Now, meditating for me is very simple. I like to set a timer on my phone. I like to put on some nice music and I just like to really like bring my attention to my breath and just really connect with my breath. And I'll do that for a little while. And, the brain is going to want to come in and think about things, and that is okay. Allow it to do that. Because as your brain, like it might start bringing up like really silly things at first, like your grocery list or whatever the case may be. And you just bring it back to your breath when it does that. But once it kind of filters through those sort of like surface topics, all of a sudden, your guidance is going to open up and it's going to start bringing things through for you. You might see the situation from a different perspective. You might have something step forward. It's really beautiful how this can work. Okay. Number 3, prayer. Prayer is huge for me. And it's basically a daily practice, sometimes many times a day, just kind of depending upon what it is that I'm going through and navigating. When we pray, an alchemical, a metaphysical, an incredible process happens where we open ourselves up for divine wisdom to come in. And, I am someone who purposely spends my time developing a relationship, cultivating, strengthening, I should say, my relationship with God, creator, divine source, whatever it is you want to call it. Again, basically on a daily basis. And I do that because I want to talk about the things that are going on in my life. I want to ask for guidance and assistance. I want to, just open myself up in that way. And it is amazing to me, especially in these times. And I know, and I have been shown that, with all of the difficulties coming on board with 2026, also our intuition is coming on board. Our ability to receive information has opened up so much. And so even me, someone who has spent, my lifetime connecting with God, always being connected with God, having conversations with God, it's wild to me how when I sit down again with an intention of like, okay, I really need guidance around this situation, like it comes forward for me so quickly. And or when I step out of the prayer, as I go kind of along my day, it'll come forward for me. All right. I can't emphasize enough to you the importance of prayer. And I don't freaking care who you pray to. Pray to whomever you feel most resonates with you, because God is available for us in endless ways. So whether it's a beautiful tree, whether it's Mary Magdalene, whether it's an ascended master of some type or an angel, it doesn't matter. God is in all of it. Okay. And so lean on prayer, because prayer will help you tune in to what is within. It will help you get grounded, centered in your body. I always feel better after I pray. And guess what? Sometimes my prayers are big tantrums. All right. This doesn't need to be some holier than thou type process at all. All right. This just needs to be authentic from the heart. Okay. Wherever you're at, whatever you're going through in life, when you need God, God is there always, 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 always. Okay. So it doesn't matter how worthy you feel. It doesn't matter what mood you're in. It doesn't matter any of those things. This is always available to you. Okay. Number 4, journaling. Journaling. Huge, huge, huge. You want to connect to that wisdom within? Journal. Now, I love journaling for a number of different ways. Number 1, I love to purge through journaling, whether that's emotions, whether that's just noise, whether that's whatever the case may be. I love purging through journaling. Like I literally sometimes will just sit down and puke out pages and pages of crap. Maybe I'm like throwing a fit. Maybe I'm really angry. Maybe I'm whatever. I will just purge. And, it's a brain dump and a half. All right. I will just move it out of my body because, again, that's like, that's enabling me to get into what I need to. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I show up when I'm purging. I inevitably get to some type of nugget of wisdom that I needed. It's so cool how this happens. The other part of journaling is very intentional journaling. So if you have an issue or if you need guidance on something, you can literally write that across the top of your page and then just start journaling and just allow yourself to write freely. They call this automatic writing. You can even call in your guides to assist you if you want to, or your higher self, which is who I actually recommend. But just start writing about the topic, how you feel about it, what it is, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. You will arrive at your answer every time. You just have to commit to the process and follow it through. And I guarantee, oftentimes, I think, even for myself, like impatience is one of the things that prevents us from like really sitting down and journaling, but it is so powerful. Okay. And then last but not least, of course, the Akashic Records. As you know, I consider the Akashic Records to be the greatest tool for self empowerment there is. And the beautiful thing about working with the Akashic Records or receiving a reading from the Akashic Records or anything of that nature is that it's connecting with our own guidance, our own soul's wisdom. Okay. So if you are, receiving a reading from someone else, which, as I mentioned, sometimes that's really needed. As a practitioner, I need other practitioners. Even though I can go in the Akashic Records at any point in time, even when I'm driving down the road, sometimes I'm going through such big things, I need assistance. And so I love receiving an Akashic reading from another person because I know that the wisdom that's coming through isn't through another being, isn't through like I know that it's coming from my soul. Okay. And so that's the wisdom that I most trust and that is most aligned for me. But the Akashic Records is available to you. And what the Akashic Records enables you to do about any possible thing that you may need guidance on in your life is go right down to the root of it. Understand it from a different perspective. Learn how to navigate it, to heal it, to whatever it is you need to do with it. Because the Akashic Records is the highest of high, because all things are located within the Akashic Records, and because when you open up your Akashic Records, you are connecting with your records, your history, yourself, however many hundreds of thousands of lifetimes you've lived, maybe just two, it doesn't matter. That is the wisdom that you are pulling through you. And I mean, holy freaking crap. Like, you can connect with lifetimes where you were super successful with, whatever situation that you're going through now and receive guidance from yourself. You could do all kinds of things in the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records, I mean, are you kidding me? There's no way I could make this list without them, because my work in the Akashic Records has not only taught me so much about myself, healed me in so many different ways, but it has also taught me how to be that much better at just tuning in to me, connecting in with my own wisdom, my own guidance. And oftentimes, I don't even need the Akashic Records, to tune in, to really get down to my soul records anymore, because I've done it for so long. It's taught me how to strengthen my ability to really tune in. So, hey, benefits all around. All right. All right. This is a longer episode. I felt like it was going to be short, and it definitely turned out not to be. But hopefully, I have offered you up some really practical ways to learn how to tune in, and hopefully helped demystify why it may be difficult for you to tune in, to connect with your own intuition, whatever the case may be. I can't stress enough to you the importance of this always, but especially in these times. I do not want you to get pulled in 50 different directions. I do not want you to waste your time in fear, in worry, in anxiety for the future. I want you to remember it's always here. It's always here. All right. Again, don't forget this Thursday, Akashic Restoration group session. Come, we're diving into fear. You will see this in action, and I would love to have you. So all links are below. I hope to see your beautiful face there and or catch the replay, just as powerful. All right. Sending you so much love. Please take care of yourself. And don't forget, when we invest in ourselves, the world benefits. Until next time.